Hi, Camille and the Studio Bird here with a tutorial on how to make a carousel book. This is one of the holiday books from my Etsy shop, and you can see that it's an accordion. And the nice thing about this accordion is that you can use the bead and the thread and to create a hanging ornament or decoration. It's a nice way to be able to display this book. This book is in my shop, as well as the pattern for this book in my shop. And the pattern comes with directions, but we're not going to need those today. We're going to go ahead and use my illustrated pattern, which comes in the kit. There's also a blank pattern, so I do all the measurement for you, and you don't have to worry and can just enjoy putting it all together. There's going to be some different things. Normally I ask for you to have some glue and something to cut out your pattern with, but today we're also going to need decorative scissors. I use the decorative scissors to give the edge on the book a little bit more pop and drama. And then we're going to be using a tape runner, and a tape runner is just going to help us adhere some of the pages together that are under a little bit of stress, so it's difficult to use glue and be able to hold them in place. So that's what we'll be using, those two additional elements. You'll also need the traditional compressed board for the book cover, as well as the linen thread that I use for the closure and a glass bead. So to begin, let's go ahead and start with that pattern, that illustrated pattern. It's a 2-page pattern. You can see that there's 3 layers to the book: the handmade paper layer, the poem layer, and these galaxy layer. To start out with any project, there's one thing that can really make things go a lot smoother for you, and that is to score all of the edges. When we have a scored edge to fold with, we have a fold that's nice and crisp and straight. So to begin, we want to go through and score all of those folds that we're going to be doing in this multi-fold accordion book. I like to use a straight edge, and we just want to take that straight edge right up, lining up those dashed lines that we have here. And I'm just using a regular bone folder to go over each and every one of those lines. Once we're all done scoring both of the pages, we're going to go ahead and cut it out. Now, I said that I use the decorative edge on some of the pages to give it some more pop and some drama. So this is what I do for the longer edges of the galaxy pages. I just cut those with this decorative edge scissor. And you can see that I've done that for the other 5 pages. So we'll just set those aside, and we'll put together the other 2 parts to our accordion. This book is actually created in 3 layers. And so this first layer, the handmade paper layer, we're going to attach and put it together using this little flap. And so I'm just going to add some glue and then just glue those 2 together. And burnish it well. You can use your Teflon folder. And we're going to do the same thing for the poem. And the poem is in order, and if you're concerned about that, you want to make sure that it is in order. But it's not a poem that's dependent on that. But here's how it all goes together, where Of Quiet and White Stillness are attached. So we'll put the layer, the flap, glue, and then make sure it's going the right direction. And then we'll just glue that down. Same thing. Now, if we weren't under some time constraints, I would say let that rest a little bit, but we are, and so we're just going to fold that gingerly as we go around. We're going to be folding this accordion so that it goes back and forth, and because we've scored those lines, we can just follow it back and forth and then continue through. When we get to this last, because I've scored that flap, it's going to work pretty slick. Look at that. And we'll just continue along till we get to the end. We want our accordions to be folded so that the ends point up. The ends point up. We have valley folds here down in the valleys and mountain folds on the top. And I talk a little bit about that in the directions because that just makes it easier to see. Your first fold will be a valley fold. Let's do the same thing to the inner accordion. Start out with folding it up. And then we have our two accordions. You can see here. So we're set for putting it together. So let's assemble it. We have 3 layers. We have the galaxy layer, we have the handmade paper layer, and then we have the poem layer. So we're going to start out by laying the handmade paper layer in front of us, and the middle layer is this galaxy layer, and this is the layer when I was talking to you about having to use the tape runner. So we're going to add tape to both the tops and the bottoms of this layer, and I will just show you how that works. You just run that tape layer like this. You can hear it. And then you have a nice thin little layer of double-sided tape. And what we're going to do, the Carousel book, if you're making it with your own measurements and your own design, the Carousel book just has 3 layers, and each layer is a little bit shorter in this measurement. So we've got the first layer, and then the second layer is a little bit shorter. So I'm going to glue it to the top of the accordion and to the first mountain fold, and I'm gluing it just to the inside of that mountain fold. And once you touch it with that kind of an adhesive, it just sticks. So if you had glue, it'd be really difficult to keep that. And then to finish, we're just going to tuck that in. We're going to tuck that in and then fold that. And there we have our first layer there, and you can see that it's a little shorter because that's why you get the gap. We want to do that for all 6 of the galaxy pages. I like to press that well when I'm done adding all of those middle second layer. And now we're ready to add the last layer, and to do that we're going to apply the glue just to tack it together at this point. And I think the easiest way to do that is to add the glue to the valley folds of this piece. So I'm just going into that groove, applying just a little bit of glue. And then I'm going to gently center that and place it on top of the other 2. And we're going to do this by starting here at the first mountain fold. I think that's the best way to do it. And then we're going to just work our way over. So we've got our first mountain fold. We're going to work to the next mountain fold. We're going to work to the next mountain fold. This is tricky. We're going to work to our next mountain fold and finishing with our last mountain fold. So you need 10 hands for that project, for that little part. Okay, so we've added it to the center, and I don't like to open and close it. I want to make sure that I've got it right there connected. Those 2 are nested in really well. And then we're going to just put the flaps down to create the text block, and to put glue on them earlier is asking for trouble. So we'll put glue on now. And we're just going to fold those around the back. So I'll put a little glue there. And we'll just fold it around this last piece. And just keep it all nicely contained in there. A little bit of glue run over. No fun. And then we'll do the same thing to the other one. Flip that around. Put a little glue on the flap. Sorry about that, it's hard to see the glue part. And then we're going to take that flap and bring it around the outside edge. Okay, so there we have our text block. And in my directions, I talk about letting this sit and making sure that it's ready, all dried and ready to put together. But today we're going to be daring, and we're going to attach that to the cover. Here's the two pieces that I've covered with the handmade paper printouts. And you can make your own handmade paper covers, or use the printouts. And I have lots of other videos that show you how to do the turn-ins and actually attach that. So I won't do that today. If you've decided to use a piece of thread, let's go ahead and put that on. And I like to put that on first. I use the bone folder to just kind of flatten that a little bit. And I'm going to just add that to the foredge of the book and glue that down. And then when I add the cover, glue that. It'll all be ready to go. So I want to have the book opening at that foredge where the thread is. And I center that cover. And then I'm ready to do the other side. Oh, you guys are going to get to see me really balance. If you had already had it glued and it had dried, you'd be good to go. You wouldn't have to worry about it coming undone. So now we're ready to attach the other cover, and we want to make sure that we have the thread in the right direction. I'm just going to glue it. And then I will glue the top part of the text block. I hope that you all get to make something this week. Relax, take some time to do something with your hands and creativity. Oops. 4 hands, need another hand. Aha. There we go. So you want to just thread your bead onto that after it's dry, but this really will need to be under some kinds of blocks to give it some weight so it can dry in some quiet silence, but you can see how that will look. Check out this and many other holiday ornament patterns in my shop. I hope you all have a good holiday season. I look forward to seeing you in the new year. From Brindle and I, thanks for watching.